So I've rebuilt some 5-speed transmissions before, but I knew this one was going to be rough and either need extra parts or tools that I didn't necessarily have. So I sent it to one of the few shops that I trust, and the result is this is possibly the worst transmission they've ever seen. So it looks pretty decent now because they cleaned it up, but there are some issues. The bearings are almost not able. Okay, that one finally rotates. So bearings don't really rotate. No big deal. Those get replaced. We've got some broken teeth. We've got some pitting on many of the gears. Like right there, it looks terrible. Believe there was some pitting on more of these. Yeah, that gear is completely terrible. Wow. More pitting. Basically, all those would probably need to be replaced. The case almost looks like the bearing had spun in it. I'm not really feeling anything, but it looks absolutely terrible. And then, of course, there had been water sitting in this thing, just corroding it. More loveliness of where water sat. Those pockets look rough as well. So I'm kind of screwed because I don't have a suitable replacement. Pretty dirty stuff. I felt like the cassette felt weird when I was trying to shift it, but it's probably just everything else. Hopefully some of these parts are usable. Maybe this input shaft. Maybe a gear or two, maybe a shaft, output shaft. Who knows what's going on here? It's been all chopped up and bashed. I'll just take this apart. Conveniently enough, there's a plug for the subframe. There's this extra ground that's not part of the plug. I'd say this harness itself is just screwed. So should I just pull the subframe? I mean, it must be bent as well. Pulled the harness through the subframe, pulled the subframe off the bike. Seems like the frames are always cracked here at the passenger peg flange. On my R90, I got that welded up. Maybe I should just leave this stress relief like that because the muffler's probably not going to crack off the whole flange. If I reinforce it, it might drive the crack somewhere else to the next weak link. I assume that the rear main seal and oil pump O-ring are pretty much gone. I'm not a fan of plastic turn signals. I'm going to pull these off anyway. I've got several others that I might just try to sell. Of course, it's held on by two different style of screws. I don't know what's going on in this one. It's like the wire harness is soldered into the reflector. So that's great. I'm just going to cut them off, or I wonder if that would just break off. And I'll just cut it off. I don't know. Okay, maybe I didn't have to cut that one wire because it looks like it just grounds out to the housing. Whatever, they're all chunky anyway. Yeah, maybe I should have looked closer. I didn't have to cut that one wire, but it was already busted. Speaking of busted, how the hell do you get this thing off of here? So these plastic reflectors go with these plastic housings. There's something with the geometry of them where you can't put these into the metal ones. I guess they've gone through a couple iterations. I don't even know if mine were a factory style. This one that I just cut off seems similar to these. I'm assuming the wires were just clipped on and not soldered on because there's no evidence of them having been soldered onto these. There's a little rub mark from a clip. This one's cool. It's like my metal ones where it's just like you push down the button, slide the wire in, super easy. Interesting.